The Asus G14 was the laptop AMD used when it showed the world its Ryzen 4000 processors for gaming laptops, and now we kind of see why. This is a relatively thin and light device that delivers performance and battery life that we've never seen before in this category. Both AMD and Asus knocked it out of the park. Currently, there's only one configuration of the Asus G14 listed on Asus's store page in the US, and it's the same as what's listed to the right. For $1,449, about £1,170, AU $2,351, you're getting the Ryzen 9 4900HS, 16GB of RAM, and NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060. But things are a bit more complicated when we look at other territories. Even compared to the full-fat and overclockable Intel Core i9 to 9980HK found in the Alienware M15, we're seeing wins for AMD. For instance, in Cinebench R15, the AMD-powered Zephyrus gets a solid 1,782 points, compared to the Alienware's 1,182. A lot of this is possible because of the move down to the 7nm AMD's Zen 2 architecture on mobile. This, plus some creative engineering from the folks over at AMD, has allowed this processor to offer truly desktop-class performance on a laptop that weighs just over 3 lb. Of course, the Asus G14 is a gaming laptop, so gaming performance is perhaps more important than raw CPU power. And, well, thanks to the RTX 2060 Max-Q included here, the Zephyrus kills it in games too up to a point. AMD Ryzen 4000 CPU performance is definitely a huge reason to pick this laptop up, but battery life is far more interesting. But first, a bit of background. Generally speaking, when it comes to gaming laptops, we've got to a point where we don't even expect them to break 3 or 4 hours of juice. If we're lucky, we'll see a gaming laptop hit 5 hours, but it's incredibly rare that we'll ever see one that you can use to work all day away from a charger. There are really only 3 pieces of software that Asus includes on the Zephyrus G14. ROG Game Visual, Armory Crate and Game First Buy. All 3 of these pieces of software let you tinker with how the laptop performs. Game Visual lets you tinker with the display, swapping between different presets, and allowing you to adjust color temperature. Buy it if you want good battery life. If you've been waiting for a gaming laptop with battery life that can keep up with an Ultrabook, it's finally here. The Asus Zephyrus G14 will give you all-day battery life. You need a strong computer whether you're doing heavy creative work, or you just want the best CPU performance available. You'll find it in the Asus Zephyrus G14. This also makes it good for streaming. You'll just have Gigabyte Arrow 17X. To call the Gigabyte Arrow 17X a gaming laptop is like calling the Ford GT40 a car. Technically true, but really missing the point. It's the kind of computer you get when give a designer a piece of paper and a pen, and tell them to build the best gaming laptop possible, and damn the cost. The Arrow 17X will blow through the best PC games on ultra settings at 60 FPS or higher for years to come, even with ray tracing enabled. Loaded out with bleeding-edge technology, an incredibly solid build, and one of the most gorgeous 1080p displays you're ever going to find, there isn't much that Gigabyte left out. ALL, that high-performance hardware means its eye-watering price tag, even for its entry-level configuration, shouldn't come as a shock, but it still kind of does. To our surprise, though, it even turns out to be a better value than competing gaming laptops, in terms of the relative price for performance, which lessens some of the sting. The Arrow 17X features the latest Intel Comet Lake CPUs and GeForce RTX Super GPUs, an Armor mechanical keyboard and trackpad, an all-CNC aluminum chassis, and a full HD Pantone-certified 17.3-inch IPS display, with a lightning-fast 240Hz refresh rate. There are several configuration options available, and the prices scale accordingly. The Gigabyte Arrow 17X configuration we tested was the most tricked out configuration possible, with an i9 to 10980HK 2.4 GHz, max boost to 5.3 GHz, a GeForce RTX 2080 Super Max P GPU, 32GB DDR4 RAM, a 1TB M2 Msi SSD, and 2TB HDD. You can pre-order it now from online retailers for $3,899, about £3,110, AU $5,575. The entry-level configuration, meanwhile, uses the i7 to 10875H processor, a GeForce RTX 2070 Super Max Q, 16GB DDR4 RAM, and a 1TB SSD. It costs significantly less, priced to $2,699, about £2,150, AU $3,860. There are different configuration options that you can build depending on the retailer, priced accordingly between the 2 configurations described here. CPU 2.4 GHz, Intel Core i9 to 10980HK, 8-core 16-thread, up to 5.3 GHz, 18MB cache graphics, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Super Max P, 8GB GDDR6 RAM. 32GB DDR4 screen, 17.3-inch Full HD, 1920x1080, IPS, 240 storage, 1TB SSD, Msi, 2TB ports. 3x USB 3.2G and 1 Type A, 1x USB 3.2G and 1 Type C, 1x Thunderbolt 3, 1x HDMI 2.0, 1x Gigabit Ethernet, 1x mic-in, 1x headphone out, 1x South Dakota card reader, 1x DisplayPort 1.4 and USB 3.1 type connectivity. Killer LAN E2600, 802.11 AX, Bluetooth 5.0 weight, 8.26 pounds, 3.75 kilograms size, 15.59 x 11.53 x 1.49 inches, 396 x 293 x 38 millimeters. WXDX as far as the design goes. It has the typical stealth bomber Knight Rider aesthetic, with RGB lighting, that you'll find in just about every other gaming laptop out there. Fortunately, the lighting on the Aro's 17XS keyboard and chassis is a bit more modest than the 70s Berlin discotheques found with other gaming laptops. The HE2 lights on the very front of the chassis look like the headlights of a car, which was obviously the look Gigabyte was going for. Other than that, there isn't much to say about the visual design that hasn't been said about those that have come before. Meanwhile, the display is incredibly clear and fluid, thanks to the 240Hz refresh rate, and the color is just as stunning, being individually certified for color correctness by Pantone before leaving the factory. No matter what is on the screen, it's going to look as good and most likely better than it would on any screen below 1440p powered by Intel Comet Lake H processors, and NVIDIA GeForce RTX Super GPUs. The Ares 17X outperforms any other pure gaming laptop you can find right now. In 3D Skydiver test, the Ares 17X scored a 49,993, a 20,803 in Firestrike, and a 10,252 in the Time Spy benchmarks, blowing clear past its nearest competitors in its class. Big, hulking beasts like the Ares 17X clearly require a lot of power. The RTX 2080 Super build needs 2 power supplies, after all, so it's natural to think that the battery is going to be all but useless on this laptop. Surprisingly, that isn't the case, and the Ares 17X put in a decent showing despite its enormous power requirements. In our HD video playback test, the battery life.
It is quite comfortable. This is our 17X, designed for professional players and extreme game enthusiasts. For more information, please check the link below.
The Asus TUF A15 is a brilliant affordable gaming laptop that manages to strike the right balance between performance and value. Its strong 1080p performance, tough build quality, and large selection of ports will win it a lot of fans, especially amongst competitive Esper's players. For great 1080p performance, good value, new AMD processors, very good battery life. The Asus TUF A15 is what we would call an affordable gaming laptop, which means it's not as cheap as budget offerings, but nor is it as expensive as high-end gaming laptops aimed at enthusiasts. Still, affordable when it comes to gaming laptops still means a decent chunk of change, and the Asus TUF A15 starts out at $1,300, 1,300 pounds, around $2,000. That's certainly pricey, although it offers much better value for money compared to some gaming laptops, such as the Alienware M15. As with other gaming laptops in Asus's TUF series, the Asus TUF A15 is a big chunky device that's a far cry from Asus's Zephyrus range, but then, that's part of the appeal. As the TUF moniker alludes to, the Asus TUF A15 places build quality and durability at the forefront of its design. As we mentioned at the outset of this review, what made us particularly excited about the Asus TUF A15 is its choice of components, which includes some of the latest hardware from both AMD and NVIDIA. Here's how the Asus TUF A15 fared in our suite of benchmark tests. 3D Skydiver, 33,361, Firestrike, 14,961, Time Spy, 6,367, Cinebench R20, 4,265, points. Geekbench 5, 1,175, single core, 7,708, multi-core. Mark 10, home test, 5,388 points. Mark 10, battery life, 5 hours and 14 minutes battery life. Tech Radar movie test, 11 hours and 44 minutes. Total War, 3 Kingdoms, 1080p, Ultra, 49.9 FPS, 1080p, low, 140 Metro, Exodus, 1080p, Ultra, 45.44 FPS, 1080p, low, 118 We have come to never expect too much from a gaming laptop when it comes to battery life, but the Asus TUF A15 doesn't do too badly here, with the Mark 10 battery life benchmark, which replicates moderate use, taking 5.25 hours to drain the battery. Be wide if you want an affordable gaming laptop. The Asus TUF A15 offers excellent value for money. Well, it's not the cheapest gaming laptop in the world. It manages to offer build quality and performance that its mid-range and budget rivals lack. Why you want a laptop for competitive play? The Msi Gs65 A15 is great for people who play a lot of competitive esports, thanks to a high refresh rate monitor for fast response times, and a built-in LAN port for fast and stable connectivity. Why you want robust build quality? Asus's tough lineup of gaming laptops make a big deal of their military-grade durability, and for good reason. These laptops feel like they last a long time, and it means you can take one out and about with you, without worrying about it getting damaged. Don't buy it if you're all about the fork. The Msi Gs65 A15 is a fine performer at 1080p, but don't expect eye-popping 4K visuals. First of all, the screen is just full HD. Alienware M15 R3. Alienware's brilliant 15-inch gaming beast, the M15, just got a little bit better, thanks to design tweaks and new components. But it's still painfully pricey. For great build quality, the very best components, sublime all-around performance, at least it does for this absolutely loaded review configuration. This 15-inch beast is crammed with pretty much the finest components known to science, man, Christendom, you name it. First up, given this is a gaming laptop, is the Nvidia GeForce RTX 2080 Super graphics card. What's more, the native resolution of the 15-inch panel is 4K, not 1080p. Crank it up to 4K, and maintain ultra settings, and you're looking at barely playable frame rates in the high 20s and low 30s. Knock some setting down so you can, of course, smooth things out. And let's be clear, the pixel density and detail in-game at 4K on a 15-inch panel will blow your mind. It's incredible. AT $3,299, £3,099, AU $5,598. The Alienware M15 for 2020 ain't exactly cheap when tricked out with top-end components. It can actually be had starting at under $1,500, £1,500. Did this with either Radeon RX 5500M or GeForce GTX 1650T graphics, neither of which are great shakes in gaming terms. CPU. 2.4 GHz Intel Core i9 to 10980HK, 8 cores, 16 MB cache, up to 5.3 GHz turbo graphics. Nvidia GeForce RTX 2080 Super Max QRAM. 32 screen. 15-inch 4K OLED, 60 Hz, WIM storage. 512 GB M2 optical drive. And of course, 3x USB A 3.1, USB-C with Thunderbolt 3, HDMI, mini DisplayPort, microSD, Ethernet connectivity. Wi-Fi 6AX, Bluetooth 5 camera, HD webcam. Weight 5.5 pounds, 2.5 kilograms. Size 14.19 x 10.87 x 0.807 inches, 360 x 276 x 20.5 millimeters. XDXH. This is comfortably Alienware's best 15-inch design yet. It's not super slim, nor is it a member of the fashionable zero bezel brigade. Lower bezel and hinge in particular are pretty beefy, but at well under an inch thick and tipping the scales at 2.5 kilograms, it's not a monster either. Elsewhere, the evidence of proper engineering is legion. Alienware has built in 12-phase graphics voltage regulation, with 6 phases for the CPU. The cooling is handled by an advanced solution involving copper heat pipes, vapor chambers and larger fans than before. And Alienware has updated the chassis coating to reduce snaring and staining. At 1080p, and with all the settings set to ultra, the Alienware M15 for 2020 has the measure of pretty much any game you throw at it. That's largely down to the Nvidia GeForce RTX 2080 Super mobile graphics chip. It is as good as mobile GPUs currently get. If you want great battery life, an 8-core gaming laptop with a massive GPU isn't the best starting point. That said, the M15 puts on a respectable showing away from the mains, managing over 5 hours in the PC Mark 10 battery test, and not far off 7 hours watching movies. Buy it if you want a stylish gaming laptop with the best components. The Alienware M15 is the best looking Alienware yet, and delivers pretty much the finest components money can buy. You love the insane detail of 4K on a 15-inch display. The M15's OLED UHD screen is absolutely glorious. The colors, the contrast, the works. The level of in-game detail simply has to be seen to be believed. You're looking for an all-around portable powerhouse along with the mighty Nvidia 2080 Super GPU. You also get an 8-core Intel CPU, and extras like support for up to 3 M2 SSDs, for fab all-around performance. Don't buy it if you're looking for a true thin and light gaming laptop. This may be Alienware's thinnest 15-inch laptop yet, but it's still a pretty big beast compared to the likes of, say, the Razer Blade 15. You play online shooters and esports at high refresh rates at least, not with this 4K configuration. Alienware also offers high refresh 1080p panels, including a 300Hz option. That's a better bet for most gamers. You are looking to maximize your bang for buck. Many of the Alienware M15's key components, including CPU and GPU, can be Msi Gs65 Stealth. For the price, the Msi Gs65 Stealth is one of the best gaming laptops you can buy today. This is officially the most impressive NVIDIA Max-Q gaming laptop that we've tested to date, outclassing most rivals by trouncing them in design and style. For attractive, subtle design, gorgeous, fast display, excellent performance, effective thermal management. When it launches later this year, MSI will ask for $1,799, about £1,289, AU $2,349, to start first Gs65 Stealth. That price includes everything you see on the right, save for a lower-tier GTX 1060 and half as much solid-state storage, SSD, capacity in the NVMe format. CPU. 3.9 GHz Intel Core i7-8750H, quad-core, 9 MB cache, up to 4.2 GHz graphics. NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070, 8GB GDDR5, Max-Q RAM. 16GB DDR4, 8GB X2, 2400 MHz screen. 15.6-inch FHD, 1920x1080, anti-glare, wide view angle display, 144 Hz, 7 milliseconds response, 72% NTSC color gamut, 69 storage, 512 GB, SSD, M2 ports, USB 3.1G and 2x3, Thunderbolt 3, USB-C. Mini DisplayPort, HDMI out, RJ45 Ethernet, 11 SPDIF, S-Sabre Hi-Fi connectivity. Killer M1550 Combo 802.11 AC Wi-Fi, 2x2 MIMO, Bluetooth 5.0 camera, 720p HD webcam weight, 4.14 pounds, 1.88 kilograms size, 14.08 x 9.75 x 0.69 inches, 357.63 x 247.65 x 17.53 millimeters. WXHXD has thankfully gone in a different direction regarding the look and feel of its flagship thin and light gaming laptop, focusing on a device with far wider appeal. You won't find stark angles or red LEDs all over this laptop, rather, you'll find a sleek all-black device with subtle gold accents on its lid, within its dual hinges, and surrounding its touchpad. On the other hand, we have little to no complaints about the brilliant, nearly bezel-free display MSI has embedded into the lid of this laptop. Specifically, the display achieves an 82% screen-to-body ratio with bezels just 4.9mm wide, cramming a 15.6-inch display into a 14-inch frame. Ultimately, this is the brightest, fastest and most color-rich display